Yo, what's going on, Jungle Cats? Got us here. Today we're going to be making a tier list of all of the Pokemon in Mythical Island and Genetic Apex. We're about 2 weeks away from the new pack release, so I thought it'd be a good time to kind of do like a wind up on where I think these cards stand. Originally, I was going to be doing all of the types together in one video, but I realized after editing a little bit that was going to be a super long video. So I decided to separate them out into separate videos. I've probably uploaded all the tier lists by now, and you can look in the description. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to catch more of this content. We're going to be pumping out a lot of videos during the new packs. In this video, we're going to be looking at water energy, so let's jump on in. All right. We're heading into the last energy type finally. Yeah, let's jump in. Let's get into the starter Squirtle line. Squirtle's pretty standard. Stat line, probably plop it in C. War Turtle, also pretty standard line. 80 HP, 40 damage. Solid stat line, but nothing too fancy, I'd say. All right, then the base Blastoise. I think this is really kind of comparable to how the base Venusaur is against the Venusaur EX with the base Blastoise. I don't know if that's too confusing, but I think this is a pretty solid card. It does just about the same as the Blastoise EX, but obviously you're not getting the earlier hit with Surf. Yeah, you can build up water on this. You only lose 1 point if it knocks out. So honestly, I think they're pretty comparable. Blastoise, really strong card. It's great to have that ability to be able to build it up even more. So you get to the Blastoise EX and then you can do even more damage if you keep building on it. And that's just become especially great with the new Vaporeon that's been out. Just easy way to get water energy on it if you're building it up in the backline. Then we have Psyduck and Golduck. I think these are pretty solid cards. I would honestly, Psyduck is a great starting card, and just to be able to deny supporter cards early game is super useful. I really like the Psyduck Gengar deck that just denies supporters throughout the whole game. I actually haven't really tried that recently, but I think that deck is pretty strong and could hold up. I know Gengar's been coming back a little bit. And then Golduck, really solid stat line, great damage for only 2 energy, 70 damage. The HP is a little bit low, but I think the damage brings it up to A tier, and just a consistent way to get 70 damage out by the second attacking turn is pretty good. Then we have the Poliwrath line. I think this is a pretty good line. I have fun with this deck, but I think it just doesn't always pull through as much as you would want it to. I do think that Poliwrath is pretty strong. I'd probably put it bottom of A tier. And then Poliwhirl and Poliwag are basic style lines. Actually, I think Poliwag is 60 HP, 10 damage, so that might be a little bit lower. So maybe I'd put it bottom of C tier for that. Poliwhirl, I think it is pretty decent, probably bottom of B tier. But yeah, Poliwrath has decent HP. You're also doing that bounce back damage, which is great. They can't heal that damage away, so that damage is going to be on them next turn, which is always good. Then we have Tentacool and Tentacruel. I think these are good. I like Tentacruel now more with Leaf, just because you can retreat it out a little bit easier. I kind of wish this had a 1-cost retreat. I feel like it's kind of an agile Pokemon, so I mean, maybe it's not. I don't know, just the way it looks and the way it feels, I would think it'd be more of an agile Pokemon, but I know it does have a lot of strong attacks as well too. Yeah, I don't know if this is as good as Poliwrath, but the 50 damage with the poison is pretty good. I'd maybe put it maybe top of B tier actually. And then Tentacool, yeah, maybe right below Squirtle be a good spot for it. Then we have Seal and Dewgong. I used to not think these were that good at all, but I think with Vaporeon, Dewgong has gotten a little bit better. I still don't think it's super strong, but it does have 120 health and does 90 damage. 90 damage is pretty great for Pokemon that only loses you 1 point. So I'd probably put this high B tier. And then Seal, I feel is a little bit awkward just because of the 2 energy attack. I'd maybe put this bottom of C tier. Then we have Cloyster and Shellder. These are somewhat comparable to Dewgong and Seal. I would say they're a little bit worse. The protection from 10 damage is alright. I feel that's not super strong though, and you're not doing any bounce back damage. So it's just lowering the damage. Just kind of constantly having a blue on it. I did try a blue specific deck with this. It did alright. It didn't feel super strong. It does feel a lot to build up. You kind of want to keep it in the backline at first with the shoulder and then bring it in when it's okay. But it can kind of work with like Vaporeon a little bit. I wouldn't say it's better than Psyduck though, but maybe like middle low B tier. And shoulder probably like lower C tier. Then we have Kingler and Krabby. Kingler is actually a pretty decent card. I would put this close to Dewgong, maybe like just above Dewgong. It is really rare to hit the additional 80. I mean, it's only a 20% chance that that's going to happen, but that's just like a crazy stat line. Like doing 160 damage is kind of insane for a Pokemon like this. This is definitely a lot better now that Vaporeon's come out. You can like just transfer energy to it, because Krabby's really not that good. I would put this at like bottom of C tier. Just always feels kind of awkward. I don't know if I've ever attacked with Krabby. Maybe it's a little bit better than these guys, maybe like middle C tier. You definitely would just like want to get to the Kingler, and then Kingler will do like 80 damage, potentially 160, which is crazy with low percentage, but occasionally that hits. Then we are moving on to probably the most dead card in the game. Seadra's just not good at all. Like, just like with Lumineon coming out, it's just like, why would you ever play Seadra? The only benefit to Seadra is that it can attack the active Pokemon as well, but it's doing the same 50 damage to any Pokemon, whether it's benched or active. And usually when you have the ability to attack bench Pokemon, you want to be attacking bench Pokemon with this specific card. So I just can't find like a use for this anymore. It's just not really good. And then probably because of that, like Horsey just goes down to D tier. Yeah, it's just not that great. Not looking good for these two. Hopefully maybe Kingdra brings them back. We'll see. Then we have Goldeen and Seaking. Seaking, honestly, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like I hit a decent amount of heads with Seaking, and being able to do 80 damage with 1 energy seems really good. I'd probably put this like maybe like right above Psyduck, middle of B tier. Goldeen only does like 10 damage. It's just not really that good. It feels kind of bad having Goldeen out. I'd probably put it like D tier. Yeah, I don't typically play this combo a lot, but I think it can be all right. Now we get into some spicy cards. We got Staryu and Starmie. Yeah, let's just boom right up. One of the best cards in the game. You just need 2 energy, you're doing 90 damage, and you have a free retreat cost. That just pairs so well with like Vaporeon. If they start getting a big card in, then you just retreat back and then you can use all your energy on something. Just an all around insane card. So good. Staryu, I'd probably have to put like, just because it leads into Starmie, probably like mid B tier. And then the base Starmie, I mean, you never really want to use this. Like Starmie EX is just so good. I have tried it out before. I think it's fine. I mean, you're always just wanting to use the Starmie EX. So I do think by itself, it's really good though, and it's only stage 1 Pokemon. It only requires 1 energy, and it also has the free retreat, so it can do pretty good. You're typically just not going to be using it over the Starmie EX. Now we have a recent favorite, the Magikarp Gyarados line. So I think like both the Magikarps are pretty even. I kind of go back and forth on which I prefer. Typically what I find is like I'll just draw the Magikarp, and then I would rather be doing damage with it. And then if I just have like the Leap Out Magikarp, then I won't be doing anything at all. There are situations, I mean, if you do draw 2 Pokemon, it can be good to just put that 1 energy on it and leap it back. But honestly, if I draw 2 Pokemon, I'm usually playing Magikarp in the back line. I'm usually not wanting to risk it up front, and you're only really getting 1 energy on it. I'd rather put that 1 energy on another Pokemon, attack with that Pokemon, and then start filling up the Magikarp in the background. So yeah, I typically prefer the base Magikarp. They're both like just fine cards. I don't think they're anything special. I put them like middle of C tier. Then we have the base Gyarados. I think this card is pretty good, and it definitely has gotten better since Vaporeon came out. I think it's all around pretty solid. I definitely prefer playing the EX version over this. I think for like when the EX came out, people haven't played it enough, but I think it is very close to the same stat lines as the EX, and only lose 1 energy for it. So it is kind of slept on a little bit. Maybe actually put it up closer here, and then I'd probably put the EX version. I think Blastoise is still better. I'd probably put it right underneath. Then we have the original Vaporeon. Honestly, this card never really felt that good. Yeah, I mean, it has like alright stat lines in your healing in water type, which is pretty good. Other than that, it kind of seems to fall flat. I'd probably put it like right above Cloyster. Definitely the new Vaporeon is where it's at. This is opens up a lot of flexibility with decks. Actually, I'd probably put it like above Golduck. All right, then we have the Omnimite Omnistar line. This is a pretty good line. I guess the main downside of this is like the fossils that you don't get to get them with Pokeballs, but I really like Omnistar. Really cool ability. It's kind of unique from the other Pokemon in this game that's been released so far. So I enjoy it. I'm kind of like working on a deck right now with it. I think it's pretty solid. And Omnimite's pretty good stat line as well. I think it kind of matches the Kabuto line. Only requires 1 energy to attack as well. Probably put it like somewhere in B tier in the middle here. Then we have Ducklet and Swanana. Yeah, these are good in like mixed energy decks, but they just require a lot of energy. And just like a base Pokemon with 2 energy, I mean, I've kind of said this a couple times. I don't really like it. I think I would go like Ducklet at top of D tier. I mean, that makes sense, right? Like we gotta put Ducklet in D tier for the D. I think that just makes perfect sense. Swanna has like a good attack. HP is kind of lacking a little bit, which is the downside. And you do need 3 energy on it, which is a lot. It does have good retreat cost, but yeah, I just don't think it's really that great. I'd probably put it like top of C tier. And then boom, now we're going to one of my favorite cards in the game. And honestly, just for that reason, we're putting Greninja S tier. I just think this is like one of the strongest non-EX cards in the game. And one of like the only non-EX I feel confident putting in S tier. It's just such a good card. You're able to attack 2 different Pokemon at once, or you can attack 80 on the same one, which is just great. It has 120 HP. This is just great with so many decks, like the Rodigan deck I did with this, and other people made with it as well too. Brokey and Frogadier, solid stat lines. I think Frogadier is a bit stronger just because you still only need 1 energy on it, and it doesn't have to be water energy. Probably put this like bottom of A tier. Brokey probably like middle of B tier just because it leads into the Greninja line. All around just solid cards. Then we have Piyuku Muku. I don't know if I ever pronounced this card's name right, but we're trying our best here. Honestly, a really solid card. Has the downside of not being able to evolve it. I think it's pretty good. It's just like a good baseline card to put out front. There's just a lot of good water cards now. I feel like it's fallen down a little bit since the mini set came out, but I think it's still pretty solid. I'd probably put it upper B tier-ish. Then we have Brooksish. Brooksish, really good card. Pairs super well with Greninja. Pairs well with Articuno. Just a good card. As long as you have damage down on them, can do a ton more, which is really good. Probably put this like the bottom A tier. Well, it does need to be paired with other cards, so maybe like top of B tier. Because by itself, it feels a little bit awkward. Just being able to do that 70 damage pretty early on is pretty good. You just need to make sure that they have damage on them. So yeah, I actually haven't tried this out with Vaporeon, but I think it could be good if you hit your Vaporeon early. Yeah, we'll have to see. We might have to make a deck about that. Then we have Snom and Frostmoth. Frostmoth's mostly just like a stalling card. Yeah, this is like kind of more common in Dragonite. I never really liked the combo that much. I think it has good utility, but now I feel like with like water type, you don't really need to stall as much just because with Vaporeon, but I don't know. I still think it has good utility. I'd probably put it like top of B tier as well. And Snom's not the greatest stat line, like top of C tier. Then we have Finneon and Lumineon. Honestly, really good cards. Lumineon's definitely a good replacement, or Seadra feels a lot better. They only need 2 energy. It's good to have a reach card. Probably put it like where I put Hitmonlee, like around top to mid B tier, and then Finneon's like pretty base stat line, probably go here, maybe like under. I feel like I should put Squirtle. Yeah, let's move Snom like down lower here actually. Yeah, it seems a bit better. Then we have Dreadnought and Choodle. Said this a million times. Starting like 2 cost energy on base Pokemon. Probably will put at the bottom of C tier because of that. Dreadnought's pretty good. I don't think like anything exceptional. Probably put it like pretty close to Dewgong. If the discarding of the energy wasn't random, I think this would be a little bit better and could maybe go into A tier, but just because you have to flip for that and it doesn't always work, just it just makes it like not super great. Then we have Crimorant, who's like kind of similar. I would honestly say like pretty similar positioning, like mid B tier. The attack is not super powerful and the HP on Crimorant isn't that good. So maybe actually lower B tier, maybe like right above Cloyster. And typically you'd want this ability for a late game. And if it doesn't hit, then they're probably going to have like a powerful Pokemon in and they'll be able to take this out with like one shot. So I don't know, I've tried it. It feels okay, but nothing exceptional. Then we have Lapras, which I feel like is pretty comparable to Dhelmise. All around a solid card, a good card to get out there early, kind of tank some damage, and then you can build it up or rotate it around with like Leaf and do some more damage later on, which is pretty good. So I honestly kind of prefer base Lapras over Lapras EX. I think Lapras EX is one of the weakest EX in the game. Probably put it in like B tier. It just requires so much energy and it's good once you have it built up to that. But I feel like when you play this, you're often drawing this really early and then you're forced to kind of put this in right away. And you don't have the option to retreat it. You don't have a lot of options you can do. You just have to like put energy on it and wait a couple turns and they're like slowly picking away at it. Maybe if the healing was like 30, this could like come back a little bit more on its health. But I think the 20 just makes it a little bit tricky. And it is an EX Pokemon, so kind of risky. The fact that it doesn't have like another attack as well makes it a little bit weak. So I don't know. I don't really like it that much. I think it's probably the weakest EX Pokemon in the game. It has gotten a little bit better with Vaporeon and Leaf, but it's still not super great. Then we have base Articuno and then Articuno. Boom. I don't even know which one is better. Articuno and Starmie are both really good. I would maybe put Articuno at the top over Starmie, but they're both like really close. They're both really good. I think just having like the two different attacks with Articuno and you can ramp up to the Blizzard and start doing damage to the backline is insanely good. It's just one of the EX Pokemons that you can get attacking really early, especially with like Misty. If you hit Misty, like if you get 2 on Misty on this, then you're already like attacking with Blizzard on your first attacking turn, which is just crazy. And it just being a base Pokemon is insane. And then so that's C tier. Not very good card. Maybe D tier, honestly. Yeah, that's fine. All right, so that wraps it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't done that already. We also stream twice a week, so check out our Twitch down in the description below. If you want to check out any of the other energy types, then I'll also have those linked down below. I'll be releasing those over the next couple days. Deuces.